Hey there traders, today I'm going to show you the best no indicator trading strategy. Whether you're scalping or swing trading, it works both ways. And without further ado, let's just get down to the video. Right, so how do we trade the Forex markets without any indicators? Well, the first thing we need to do is just mark areas of sensitivity such as trend lines and support and resistance. So where can we see our first support area? We can see one over here. Nice supported area. Every time it touched over here, multiple touches, what happened? It went towards the upside. Most of the time, right? He had a fake breakout over here, went towards the upside. So we need to mark this area and name it, our support zone. Now, the same thing goes to the resistance. Where is an area resistance? We can see a nice area consolidation over here. We had this a little false breakout. Some people like to put their resistance at the most or biggest top level, but I wouldn't do that because we are seeing, a nice downtrend as well. So what do? I will mark this trend towards the downside. As you can see, kind of pulled back out. So what do? We kind of want to move it a little bit, see where can it actually stand and make sense. So this trend line seems pretty good to me. Every time it touched, it went towards the downside. So now we are seeing, a nice squeeze pattern, a little consolidation zone over here, which is nice. We can see a nice bearish engulfing candle developing. Now, where we're going to enter this trade, as you can see, this area of support has been fairly strong on the 1 minute time frame. And if you look at the right hand side of your screen over here, you can see the little timer running out. Now, every time the timer runs out, a new candlestick forms and the last candlestick just stays put. This is what we're seeing currently. Now, if we have a look at, let's say, 1 hourly time frame, as you can see, it was trending towards the downside. Now, it has been trending towards the downside for a while, but we see this steep push towards the downside. After a push exhaustion push scenario, very likely we're in a exhaustion cycle, right? Since the push has already happened, we might see an exhaustion. This exhaustion on the 1 hourly time frame will reflect the lower time frames, such as the 1 minute time frame. So we could potentially maybe find a good buying opportunity. As you can see, this area zone, as I said, is your support zone. We always want to enter our trades on a candlestick formation, such as a bullish engulfing candle. Now, if we do get a bullish engulfing candle, this is what I mean. Blue one swallows the white one, we enter our trade. So 3 seconds, 2 seconds for our timer, we can enter our trade for a buy trade. There we go. And we always want to, if you're scalping especially, you always want to keep it on the major pairs. If you don't know which they are, is the Euro USD, GBP USD, USD Japanese Yen. Everything associated with the US dollar is considered a major currency pair. There is an exception, Euro GBP, it's on a gray area. Some people don't compare it as a major, some people do, but I do because it's a powerful currency pair, right? So as you can see, bullish engulfing candle, we entered our trade for a long. We want to enter for a long position because it's very likely going to push up. As we saw on the 1 hourly time frame, although the overall trend is towards the downside, we had this steep push towards the downside, and usually after a steep push there's exhaustion and then maybe a continuational push towards the downside. So we'll see what happens. I actually believe that it will shoot towards the upside to retest this zone. However, if this does not happen and it breaks this area zone, I will close off my trade, reanalyze and re-enter for a sell. So we'll see what happens, and I'll come back to you guys when the market has moved in profit or not. So as you can see, 20 seconds later is shooting towards the upside a little bit. We are seeing a nice bullish engulfing candle as well developing again. And as you can see, we were $3 in profit. I don't know if you saw it, but last second, there we go, zero. We're nearly in profit, obviously minus 15 because of the spread differences the brokers have. That's the commissions the brokers take. So we just need to wait for the market to push up a little bit more, and then we can close off our trade in some kind of profit. So as you can see, market moving about, and we will likely see, some sort of scenario like this, a little consolidation here, consolidation, and then move up again to retest this area zone. Very likely scenario. So as I said, I'll come back to you guys when this happens. So as you can see, pushing up again, and this is another confirmation. Look, bullish engulfing candle, another bullish engulfing candle, and another one is definitely developing. So it shows bullish pressure and momentum that the buyers are definitely here to retest very likely the previous area top. If it breaks this area of resistance, push exhaustion push scenario towards the upside. If it breaks the support area over here, push exhaustion push towards the downside. Very simple, because the market is currently on a squeeze pattern. As I said, the overall direction was towards the downside, so that actually worries me a little bit. However, it does seem on the lower time frames we might have a pullback towards the upside before we continue to move down. So we'll see if that happens, and I'll come back to you guys again in a minute. Now, as you can see, I did not want this to happen, but the market is falling down. As you can see, it's breaking our supported area, but that's totally fine. We will close our trade off. That's okay. If you're scalping, you know, losers happen, but that's okay. Look, it's falling down, right? So close off $138. Pretty damn bad, right? So we want to maybe increase to 5 lot size. That's fine. But look, we will sell this trade now, and I can guarantee it is going to continue falling down. Look at this. It's shooting down very nicely. We are $50 in profit already. Push exhaustion push scenario very likely. The overall direction has changed. As you can see, bearish engulfing candles. Another one is definitely forming. If we have a look at the 15-minute time frame, again, bearish engulfing candle, very likely gonna retest this previous area of supported level, which it hasn't yet on the 15-minute time frame. How many pips is that? If we have a look, that's around 3 more pips towards the downside before it reaches. So if we have a look at the 1-minute time frame, new lower low has happened. As you can see, this was previous, boom boom boom, shooting towards the downside. If we have a look at our MetaTrader 9520, we still need to keep it a little bit. We need more profit. We lost 180, so we need to wait a little bit. There we go, 150, 145. Okay, are we reaching the area of support? We are nearly there, as you can see on the 15-minute time frame. As I said, there we go. Okay, it's pulling back a little bit. Okay, it's pulling back. Close the trade off when it pulls back. I believe push exhaustion push scenario is going to happen. So what we need to do is wait a little bit, because it's very likely going to bounce off this area zone. That's very likely a scenario. Markets always move with a push exhaustion push scenario. So let's just have a look. 1 minute. We need to wait for an exhaustion. It made the new lower low. Very likely an exhaustion is going to happen. I want to enter on a completion of exhaustion before we continue to move down. So we need to wait for the market to do that. As you can see, it's pulling back a little bit. It's on the 1-minute time frame, so obviously very volatile as well. I'll just come back to you guys when a scenario happens, and I'll explain everything a little bit more detail. Okay, so it's pushing up, definitely likely to retest this zone or this one over here. We might want to enter our trade again, so sell. There we go. If something, we will enter again off this area zone, since it just, as you can see, if we just draw this line near an area of resistance, because push exhaustion push scenario, right, always breaks the area of lower low, right? The lower low has been broken. This is the new one. So push exhaustion push, this becomes from a support to a resistance. So this is now a resistance area, very likely going to continue to move down. However, there is a likelihood or a chance that that push exhaustion could happen here, because this was a previous area of support that was well respected as well, and you can't never know that before it happens. So you have to kind of guesswork a little bit, especially on the 1-minute time frame. But I do believe the trend is gonna go down, and if it pulls back towards here, I will enter another trade, but I will not close this trade that I just placed, because I do believe that the trend, the overall direction, is gonna go towards the downside. Okay, so the trade seems to be struggling in around this area zone. As you can see, this was the previous area of sensitivity I talked about on the 15-minute time frame. So we can mark it, come back to the 1-minute time frame, see what's happening. So if a pullback does occur, as I said, if a strong pullback occurs over here, we will enter a trade short once again with the bearish engulfing candle as confirmation, because very likely it's going to retest this previous area bottom. So we'll see what happens. I'll come back to you guys. As I said, I keep saying it, I'll come back to you guys in a bit. So as you can see, it's pulling back a little bit, finding some sort of area resistance, but I really need to enter on a bearish engulfing candle off a resistance zone. So I'm still waiting and keeping my eye on the market. Also, if we have a look here, euro US dollar, as you can see, from 89,000 these past 6 weeks to 38,000, it has just been decreasing in number, which means euro power is definitely going down. And we now got a bearish engulfing candle, so we will place another trade, 2.5 lot size this time. We will place another trade and we will carry on doing that. If you have a smaller balance, make sure to obviously lower your lot sizes. And this is the way you scalp. This is the way you kind of make the most out of the situation, because we have this area of resistance, right? We don't know whether it's going to bounce off it or not. But what we can do is just carry on placing trades, right? If we place, let's say, a lot size trade, then if it pulls back, and we're in the minus, maybe we'll want to place another lot size trade, because we know that very likely it's going to continue to go down and retest this area bottom level. But first, it could be an exhaustion cycle, because markets move like this: push, exhaustion, push scenario. Push, exhaustion, push scenario, very likely maybe a continuation push towards the downside for further maximum pip gain. So as you can see, currently shot towards the upside near the area resistance. As you can see over here, now shooting towards the downside. I didn't enter, I was waiting until it reaches this zone. That's okay, we're shooting towards the downside now. If we have a look, our both trades are in some profits. Just a little push towards the downside will make us start making us money. So we'll see. If it pulls back, as I said, bearish engulfing candle, we will enter short to retest this zone. However, it's currently on a little kind of consolidation zone, very likely just a pullback before a continuation or push towards the downside. Okay, so moving down nicely, as you can see, retesting this area bottom, and there we go, 50, 32. I believe it's gonna go towards the downside even more. I believe it's gonna touch this area zone. Since it didn't, I'm not too worried. Yeah, it's very likely, as you can see, where the touches previously happened, we see a reversed head and shoulders pattern on the 1 minute time frame, trending towards the downside. Little pullback over here, head and shoulders pattern on the 1 minute time frame, again went towards the downside. Very likely gonna retest the zone. This is happening, and there we go, 157. We can close off this trade, and there we go, we can close off this trade as well very nicely. Now what you can do is wait for a push, exhaustion, push scenario once again to happen, or you could have just kept the trade open. But basically the idea of this trading strategy is just have, you know, areas of sensitivity like I do, and find, you know, area squeezes. Then just wait for push, exhaustion, push scenarios and a bearish or a bullish engulfing candle, whether you're trading on an uptrend or a downtrend, and you should be good to go. Now in this scenario, what would you do? Right, we had a push, exhaustion, push scenario, made the new lower low. The lower low happened near an area of previous support, so it could have a bounce back towards this area zone, could potentially consolidate, could potentially break through, maybe bounce off this area zone, or in the best case scenario, maybe a bearish engulfing candle now develops, goes towards the downside, and we can enter again short to maximize our pip gain. So a lot of various different scenarios. However, that's Forex. So as you can see, now it's fallen down very nicely, breaking this area zone. So very likely push, exhaustion, push scenario gonna continue to move down. That's a very likely scenario. Let's have a look at the 5 minutes. 5 minute time frame, 2 minutes left. As you can see, 1 minute 57 at the moment. If it makes a new low on the 5 minute time frame, it will definitely continue to move down. Let's have a look at the 15 minutes. 11 minutes left. As you can see, this candlestick closed over here, trying to break through this area of support. But basically this technique, this strategy is very simple: support and resistance, you know, trend lines and the different time frames, basically to identify whether your supports are valid or not. And that's the way you trade. I might even place another trade, so I'm just looking whether it makes sense to do so. Push, exhaustion, push scenario, maybe a pullback towards this area zone with a bearish engulfing candle as confirmation, go down. to hell. So I just had a look on the 2-minute time frame. As you can see, bearish engulfing candle making a new lower low, and this seems to be a good trading opportunity. So 5 lot size, and let's place a trade towards the downside on the 2-minute time frame. As you can see, bearish engulfing candle breaking through a new lower low, might retest this area, but is continuing to move down, which is very nice. That's what I want to see on the 5 minutes. 19 seconds left, so it's definitely gonna make a new lower low on the 5 minutes. Carries on shooting down very nicely. So we're currently 45 dollars in profit, which is pretty good. Obviously big lot sizes because I have a big account, but if you have smaller lot sizes, that's okay as well. I recommend if you trade in smaller lot sizes, maybe trade not on the 1 minute and 5 minute, trade on the 15 minute, because the move and pip gain will be a little bit higher. Obviously slower market conditions as well, but it's gonna make sense to do it. Okay, so 40, 45, 70, there we go, 90, 95, and I'm closing off the trade. And as you can see, very nicely went towards the downside. You just find confirmations. As I said, bearish engulfing candle went towards the downside, and this would have been a great trade towards the downside if I continued it, but I'm happy with my profit gain. And this is how you trade with no indicators in Forex, live trading, live scalping, whatever you want to call it. And if you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like, and you can join my trading group. It's the first link down in the description below. 350 premium members, 2,800 free members. If you want to become a free member, you're more than welcome to join forextradingalliance.com. And this is Elders from Forex Trading Alliance. Have a wonderful day, stay safe, and goodbye.